Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, the three names every serious crypto investor watches. But here's the question I've been asking myself lately. Where's the real upside now? Bitcoin has its ETFs, Ethereum has its staking dominance, but Solana? I believe its institutional movement is just beginning, and I'll tell you why I'm leaning harder towards Solana than the other large caps right now. Welcome back to Captain Altcoin, my crypto fan. It's good to have you here. Today I'm talking about Solana, but not hype and numbers. Rather, institutional adoption and why I personally think Solana still has the most asymmetric upside among the big caps. Quick reminder before we go on, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my own views, research, and what I'm doing with my portfolio. Always do your own due diligence before investing. And while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss my updates. Now let's get into it. The crypto market has matured a lot in the last 2 years. Bitcoin has 43 spot ETFs approved. Institutions already hold more than 16% of Bitcoin supply. Ethereum has 21 ETFs and over 7% of its supply in corporate hands. These stories are well told. But Solana, 0 ETFs, only about 5 public companies holding it. Institutions control less than 1% of the total supply. That gap is massive. And in my mind, it screams one thing: upside potential. I believe Solana is standing right where Ethereum was back in 2019. Back then, ETH was still unproven for institutions, but the fundamentals were strong. Today, Solana is in that same position, except it already outpaces Ethereum on key usage metrics. I'm not saying Solana will flip Ethereum tomorrow, but I do think its growth story is only just beginning, and Bitcoin and Ethereum's paths are much more predictable at this point. Now, when I look at where the big players are putting their money, Solana is just starting to catch their eye. Asset managers like Invesco and VanEck have already filed for Solana ETFs this year. Analysts expect approvals as early as Q4 2025. In fact, prediction markets like Polymarket are pricing the chance of Solana ETF this year above 99% now. If you know how ETFs change demand dynamics, and we saw it with BTC and ETH, this is big. Billions of dollars could be pulled into Solana almost overnight once the first ETF launches. That's the kind of catalyst that can reshape a market. But ETFs aren't the only thing. Big fintechs are quietly moving in too. Stripe and PayPal have started building on Solana. Think about it. Companies that process billions in payments every year are choosing Solana as their blockchain rail. And it makes sense. With transactions confirmed in under half a second and fees basically at zero, it's tailor-made for payments. On top of that, we've seen corporate treasuries pivot into Solana. Companies like Forward Industries and DeFi Development Corp hold millions of SOL on their books, together worth nearly $600 million. That's not retail money. That's strategic capital betting on Solana's future. And you've got Galaxy Digital, Mike Novogratz firm, quietly buying more than $1 billion of Solana this month. That tells me institutions are already positioning even before the ETFs hit. Now let's talk about fundamentals. I don't just invest in stories. I look at data, and Solana's numbers are blowing me away. Every single day, Solana processes between 160 and 200 million transactions. Compare that with Ethereum's few million per day, and you see the difference immediately. Fees, practically zero. We're talking fractions of a cent, even during peak stress. That's why Solana dominates in DeFi trading volume. At times, over 80% of all DEX trades are happening on Solana. And this is also why the Base network is exploding right now. But that's the topic for another video. Next, developer activity is just as strong. Over 7,600 new developers joined Solana in 2024 alone, 83% increase year over year. That's more growth than Ethereum saw in the same time frame. Phantom Wallet now has over 15 million monthly users, and stablecoins on Solana exploded this year, with supply jumping to almost 12 billion. In simple terms, people are using this chain. It's an actual adoption happening right now. Here's where I really start leaning in. I keep asking myself, what's more realistic? Ethereum hitting $10,000 or Solana hitting 500. Both targets are roughly a 2.5x move from here, but in my opinion, Solana hitting 500 looks way more achievable. It has ETFs on horizon, it's under-owned by institutions, it has ETFs on the horizon, and it has the usage numbers to back it up. Ethereum at 10K might still happen, but Solana at 500 feels more probable in the near term. And if you're not yet at the top of this bull cycle, then that kind of move is still not unrealistic at all. I want to be transparent here. I already hold Solana in my portfolio, and I'm not just holding. I'm looking to add more if it dips back to 200. That's a level I'm comfortable accumulating at because I see where this is heading. When I weigh Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, I see Solana as the one with the highest asymmetric upside right now. Bitcoin is safe, Ethereum is established, but Solana still has that explosive growth potential left in it. Let's circle back to the ETFs. I can't stress enough how game-changing this could be. Institutions are currently holding less than 1% of Solana's supply. Compare that with 16% for Bitcoin. Once ETFs are approved, that gap could start closing fast. And remember, ETFs don't just bring passive exposure, they also bring legitimacy. Every pension fund, every wealth manager, every retail brokerage suddenly has an easy way to allocate to Solana. The flows won't be as big as Bitcoin's, at least not at first, but the impact on price could be dramatic because the supply is so thin on the exchanges. We've already seen this movie play out with Bitcoin last year. ETFs drained liquidity fast and created upward pressure. It happened with Ethereum as well. I believe the same will happen with Solana, maybe even more violently given how little supply is in institutional hands today. Now, I don't want to paint Solana as perfect. I've been in this market long enough to know there are always risks. Solana's main one is still its centralization and past outages. Yes, the network has been stable for over 2 years now, but history shows it can stumble under pressure. That said, I think the Fire Dancer upgrade and other improvements are addressing those weaknesses. And honestly, every blockchain has its trade-offs. For me, the upside outweighs the risks here, but I keep it in mind. So let me wrap what I've been saying all along in this video. Bitcoin and Ethereum are still solid bets, but their institutional adoption is already mature. Solana is still in its early days. No ETFs yet. Institutions holding less than 1%, and a market cap far below its peers despite superior performance on key metrics. When I ask myself, where's the asymmetric bet in large caps right now? For me, it's Solana. That's why I hold it. That's why I'm adding more on dips, and that's why I believe $500 Solana is more realistic than 10,000 Ethereum in the near term. But that's just me. What do you think? Do you agree Solana is about to have its institutional moment, or do you see Ethereum and Bitcoin as safer plays? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, like this video, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my future updates here on Captain Altcoin.